Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and holy crap, do I have a treat for you. Is Modern stale for you? Do you hate every single strategy? Do you almost vomit whenever you see a Summer Bloomer, I don't know, any other staple in the format? Don't worry. I'm here to save you from the monotony of Modern. I stumbled onto a crazy strategy that you are going to love. Best part, there are both budget and non-budget versions of the deck. Strap on a helmet, y'all, we're about to get crazy. Oh, also, if you enjoy more Modern deck techs and, want more, the like button lets us know that. We talk often, just hint hint. Ready for this? Today's deck tech is centered around Shared Fate. 5 mana for an enchantment. If a player would draw a card, that player exiles the top card of one of their opponent's libraries face down. Each player may look at and play cards they exiled with Shared Fate. Basically, Shared Fate forces you to play with your opponent's deck and forces your opponent to play with your deck going forward. Anytime you would draw a card, you exile your opponent's top card. While this is in play, you will never draw from your own deck again. Welcome to Modern. This is going to be a bumpy ride. Let me explain what we're doing here. Shared Fate is a ridiculous enchantment. It really is. On the surface, it's hysterical and just messes up the entire game. Go a little deeper and you find a sweet strategy. Your one goal is to get Shared Fate into play and then win using your opponent's deck. Remember, you can use any card that you exile out of their deck, lands included. You won't have any problem casting any of their stuff, eventually. Of course, this does mean that they get access to your deck, which is why, ready for this, you won't put anything in it. That's right, your entire deck is going to be disruption, removal, and card draw. Yep, you have absolutely no win condition. When Shared Fate resolves, your opponent has no chance to win because your deck can't win. Oh baby, this is going to be awesome. There are countless versions of this strategy, and we'll go over their variants soon, but since this is a deck tech, I created a nice shell for you. Every Shared Fate deck needs to do one thing, play Shared Fate. To do that, you need to survive long enough to cast it, get it through counter magic, and protect it from hand disruption. To these ends, in any Shared Fate deck you build, you'll always run a playset of Shared Fate, a playset of Mana Leak, and a playset of Serum Visions. Card draw and counter magic, exactly what you want. The version we're showcasing today also runs playsets of Path to Exile, Condemn, Gitaxian Probe, and Rune Snag. Path and Condemn to keep you alive to get to your fate, and Rune Snag because, well, crap is off the rails. Probe is to make sure the path is clear. You're more than welcome to replace the snags with spell snares if you want to, but this first version is a bit budget. We're running Days Undoing as a playset for a couple of hilarious reasons. First, if need be, we can super dig for our Shared Fate, especially if we're against fair decks that we don't expect to blow us out while we're tapped down. Second, because you draw the cards, if you use this after the Fate is in play, you get an entire grip of your opponent's deck. That's just funny. They'll get a bunch of your cards too, but again, your deck doesn't actually do anything, so enjoy the hilarity. The rest of the non-lands are just 4 Wall of Omens and 2 Supreme Verdict. Wall of Omens keeps us alive against aggressive strategies, simple addition there. Supreme Verdict does the exact same thing, and thankfully it whiffs against a lot of decks, so even if the opponent gets it, there's a good chance we're not playing a creature-based deck anyway, so it works out. Everything always works out when you share Fate, just saying. The lands don't really matter, but we're running 4 City of Brass, 4 Exotic Orchard, 4 Glacial Fortress, and 4 Seachrome Coast. Obviously, you can upgrade these if you want to. Hallowed Fountain, Flooded Strand, do whatever makes you happy. On that note, some things that might make you happy that you cannot do. Repeat after me. I will not run Cryptic Command or Remand. You can't play these cards. They return things to their owner's hand. That's bad. You run the risk of giving something even remotely useful to your opponent. You cannot do that. No unsummon effects ever. They're too impactful on the board state. Your deck must remain completely useless or the plan won't work. Just get it together. The deck that I just showed you is a simple blue-white shell for a Shared Fate deck, a shell I created with budget in mind. There are plenty of other variants for Shared Fate, most of them higher budget. We'll go over them quickly. Arguably the best version of Shared Fate is the Esper version. It runs your blue-white package like your counters, card draw, and removal, but it also runs Inquisition of Kozilek or Duress or Thoughtseize, whatever you need to get rid of the counter or enchantment destruction they have for your Fate. Black also lets you run a bit of sweet tech. Ready for this? Brain Spoil. Yeah, I know. Anyways, this card transmutes for Shared Fate, so it's basically like running 8 of them. If you're playing the black version, this is much better than a tutor effect would be in white. Don't want to play that version? No problem. You can play the blue-red variation, which is beyond funny. Basically take a Storm deck, remove all the win conditions, and add Shared Fate. No, I'm not kidding, that's the deck. Think about it. Storm is basically an entire deck of generating mana and drawing cards. Get Shared Fate out and bam, your opponent won't be able to do anything of substance at all. It's wonderful. Best part? In the blue-red variant, where your main deck is a lot of Storm pieces, you'll also be playing your classic counter and card draw spells. Just sideboard in the Splinter Twin combo if you think someone has a good counter to you. 15 cards is more than enough to side into a Splinter Twin deck. Go crazy, you can do that. You're playing Shared Fate, there are no rules. Man, I love this card. There are obviously a ton more versions of this deck across many color combinations, but the examples I gave you today are among the most common and effective. Remember, this deck does look hysterical, but it is relatively consistent to how crazy the card looks. You're looking to create a lock on the game, similar to many other strategies. Don't underestimate this one. Gameplay advice. The deck can be a little tricky at first, but repeated matches will help. Put a lot of value on your opponent being tapped out and getting as much information as you can. If you drop Shared Fate and your opponent has 5 cards in their hand and you don't know what they are, that's not a good thing. You need to make sure there's nothing in their hand that can mess up your lock. They aren't drawing anything relevant for the rest of ever, so the hand, that's the danger. Keep that in mind. But what do you think? Shared Fate is amazing, right? You can't tell me this doesn't look fun as all heck. I mean, it's Shared Fate. We can totally make this a thing. Anywho, seriously, what'd you all think? Which variant do you like the most? Played the deck before? Let me know upgrades. I'm basically in love with this, and it's so cheap. It's so cheap. Oh, it's awesome. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.